My guest today is a world-renowned artist who paints to protect the planet. From witnessing orangutans defend their home in the rainforest to going weeks in silent meditation, she paints to encourage and inspire global conservation and action. Her latest mission is simple yet so profound, encouraging us all to plant 165 trees so that we can protect and save our planet's future. She is one of my newest friends who I had the great honor and privilege of meeting at Michel Pascal's concert at Carnegie Hall. And from the little bit that I have heard and seen from her so far, I'm so inspired. So I know that you will be too. So wherever you are in the world, please make some noise or howl at the moon for my guest today, Ekaterina Sky. Ekaterina, thank you so much for being here today.
Of course, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for an epic intro.
Oh, anytime, you know what I mean? That's like one of my most fun parts of the day. Like, how can I set this up? Okay, so, we met each other, and immediately we were like, do we know each other? So have we figured this out yet, or is it just a past life thing?
I think it's a past
life. It's a past life, right?
We thought we did, but then we're like, oh no, that was actually same place, wrong time.
Yeah, it was the 1600s. We were just two fishermen in a boat for 20 years.
That was the one.
That was the one, right?
Yeah. But we were releasing the fish back into the water.
Yes, because we were like, it's just for fun, We were just actually picking them up with our bare hand, giving them a little kiss and setting them back into the water, right?
Sounds like we would do that,
yeah. Well, listen, I am such a big fan of your artwork now. From what I saw at Carnegie Hall and what you shared, it's really, really incredible the work that you do. As I've learned more, you really call yourself an impact artist. So what does that mean for you? What does it mean to be an impact artist?
Ooh, that's such a good question. Thank you for asking me. I truly believe that impact art is the new impressionism. Why? And I'm going to dive deeper into what impact art is.
Yeah.
Why? Because impressionism in the beginning wasn't fully recognized. Right? It was like, oh, what is this? It doesn't look realistic. It looks different. It's weird. So people kind of like tossed it. They're like, it doesn't matter. Yet today, it's in so many museums. We are in awe of this art style, right? So many people, even buy it for millions of dollars. Not many, but some. So impact art is a new type of art that we need today due to, what we are having, the environmental collapse, right? What we have with the social justice needs and etc. So it's a way for artists to speak up for something that matters. There's this, the art called activism.
Yeah.
A movement. Yeah. So activism is really all about going and like protesting. And it's like, hey, that's what we want. And it kind of goes with the push. And yes, we do need that, right? Of course, like there's like so many different ways that we can, convey a message. Yet impact art also works within the system. So it works with politicians. It works with people who are actually within the systems who can make a change and difference. We just have to find the right people that are aligned with our mission, our vision, right? Like, and the simple things like clean water, clean air, healthy soil, the basic needs. So impact art is truly there to advocate for something greater.
So how did you even get on this creative journey? From what we talked about a bit, you've been an artist your whole life. Is that correct?
Yes, I do have a business degree. International business degree, yes,
yeah,
from my parents, which is serving me right now.
Yeah.
I have been painting my whole life, and the reason was because I traveled from country to country when I was a kid in the search of better life, and at every new destination, I couldn't speak, so I went quiet, and I was bullied a lot, so I had to find my own language, and that was art.
Yeah, you grew up in Russia, is that correct?
So I was born in Russia.
Yeah.
Yes, and then I moved to like many different countries after, and ended up in French Canada, and then in now in Los Angeles in California.
Wow.
Yeah, but we bounce around a lot. All of it to say that I found that when I painted, when I drew, kids would appreciate me. They would bring me their pencils and markers. They were like, how did you do this? Like, can you show me how you did it? And I would. And so it was a moment of connection. So I've learned the power of art to transmute suffering into life force. And so then throughout my art career, I was like, I have to speak up for the voiceless, which is animals, endangered species. So I traveled around the world and I painted these gigantic murals of animals with big eyes facing the viewer straight forward. Because I truly believe that eyes are windows into our soul. And when we get to meet someone's soul, we don't have a heart to hurt them. And I love doing that. And then there was a pivotal moment when I saw a video of an orangutan fighting a bulldozer. Imagine an animal that stands no chance to find a machinery to protect his home. standing on like one on a semi-standing tree when the forest is destroyed, and we are doing it, right, as humans, as human species. And that kind of completely, wrecked my whole world. And I was like, wait, I'm a young woman. And, I was like, oh, eventually I would love to have a family. Can I have a family? Is it safe for me to have a family? Like, what's going on? Do we have a future? Like, for example, Borneo rainforest, in the last 20 years, more than half of a lowland jungle has been destroyed.
Oof.
20 years. And by the time, let's say I have a kid today, right? Like in 20 years, the kid is 20, just like, mid-college. Do we have anything else left?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Well, they have a home at that point too.
Yeah.
So how old were you when you first started to move? How old were you when you really started to travel and go to these other countries?
So I was 6 years old.
You were 6. Okay,
I was
so
6.
Very young.
Yeah.
And then what was it like for you when you came to this new country to learn these new languages?
It was scary, honestly, because like it was me and my mom had to work. So I didn't have anyone to protect me. I didn't have anyone to make me lunch. She couldn't even walk me to school. And shortly after, a war started, and my room was a bunker. And which I actually loved as a kid because all the snacks were there. And
there's always a silver lining, right?
Well, as a kid, you have to find it, right?
Yeah.
So there's like snacks, there's water. And if a bomb is falling, there's a siren, everyone's running to my room. Great, it's a party.
Wow.
It's like, so as a kid, you're like, this is amazing. Growing up, you're like, and now like, if like my grandma tells me there's like bombs or like anything, I'm like, I'm worried.
Yeah.
So as kids, of course, we can make anything fun. But does it mean that we should make kids adapt to it? Or can we find different ways of negotiations, of sharing? And, yesterday, actually, I was talking to someone and, I love men and they're great and amazing. We need more men that are like, in their power and helping and doing all the amazing things. And also we need more women in power.
Yeah.
And we were saying if there's like more women in power, we'll be like, no, you take it. You take it.
Yeah.
It's fine. We'll share.
No, it's all right.
It's okay.
Oh man, I'm sorry. No, please. Yeah.
It's all good. Right? So there's like this like more nurturing approach, which I think our planet needs right now.
Yeah, the feminine energy.
Yes.
We need the balance of it.
We need the balance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's really interesting, right? Because hearing that story, for you to know that now you want to help give voice to the voiceless, for you to protect homes of not just people, but animals and plants. It makes sense seeing your upbringing, how you took that. And instead of letting that be something that held you down or something that you became a victim of, you use that as your greatest strength now. And you use that knowing that, that was a difficult situation for you. So you want to make sure that nobody else goes through that situation, and not just people. The whole planet doesn't have to go through that situation.
Yes.
And that's a really beautiful thing. And I mean, from just spending a few days with you, you are such a joyous person. And then when I hear more about your story, like, wow, what an incredible gift that you have to bring beauty and joy to the world, even if you've seen or experienced some things that were heavy. So I really appreciate that. And I love this idea that even though you couldn't speak a language, art became that medium. There is always that way to communicate. How do you feel when people see your artwork? What are you trying to communicate with them? How do you want them to feel after seeing this?
There's so many different things. And also to touch upon what you said, not being a victim.
Yeah.
I feel like I grew up feeling like a victim, like father left, wars, I can't speak the language, we can name it. There's so many things, and at some point I heard someone say going from victim to victor. I was like, wait a second. I want to be in that energy. That feels so good. So how can I reframe my life? Instead of being, oh, poor me, life is so hard. But then, we lose hope. We can't do anything. And then by stepping into being a victor, it's like, okay, what can I do? What tools I have? How can I communicate my voice? Even if I don't speak the language, can I make art? So it's like stepping into that power, right? Like your own power. And then having hope for the future and self-belief, right? That you can do this. And then as an individual, you can actually make a difference. And when we step into that, we can help others, and we can inspire those also like kids or people who had difficult lives. And instead of like being, I know it's so easy to go into like depression and being like inward and like, oh, life is so hard. But life is so much more beautiful when we step outside of ourselves. So I want to inspire hope. And my art is truly, it's moving from grief to hope. Because with everything that's happening in the world right now, even just, if you just take environmental, issues and like, we want to grieve. There's so much eco anxiety. It's
Eco
like
anxiety.
eco anxiety, yeah.
Wow. What do you mean by that?
So eco anxiety, it's like, it's like, for example, you're like, oh, I want to buy a home by the water, for example, but oh my God, it's like, I don't know if it's going to stand there.
How
and
long
like,
will it be there?
exactly. Or like where the world is heading, right? Like, are we going to, is there going to be like so many natural disasters that like we won't survive? Like, am I allowed to do this? Like, there's this anxiety of not knowing what the future holds. And we witnessed it a lot. Like in Los Angeles, we just had fires a year ago. It was terrifying.
Yeah, you were living there during that time. Is that correct?
Yeah, I woke up at 6 a.m, suffocating from smoke.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm by myself with my dog. And then like, you wake up and you just need to and I don't have family in LA, like, so I just like, okay, what do? I woke up, I called my girlfriend. She lived like 2 hours away. I was like, do you mind if I come to your house? And she was in Guatemala at the time. She's like, yes, of course. I grabbed my dog, I ran outside, and there's like ashes falling from the sky. And the sky is dark orange. And so I got into my car, I'm driving, and I called my parents, I was like, hey, if you hear anything on the news, I'm safe, I'm okay. Yet, like if I wouldn't got out, some places, areas like cars got stuck, people were running out, cars had to be bulldozed, in order for firefighters to get through.
Oh my gosh.
Horrible. But the thing is that even though like 3 months after, everyone forgot about it. And people are like, if it's not in my backyard, it's not happening.
Yeah.
And initially I started to do this work because I saw what was happening, in Asia, for example, with the pollution and like, there's also the fires and everything. And then I was like, wait, that's at my doorstep. So I think, unfortunately, as humanity, I feel sometimes we don't wake up until there's like something is really so strong in front of us. Like, it's like we see
it's right in front of your face.
You. Yeah, thank you for the English.
Yeah.
So I really want people to take agency and responsibility and take action and also have hope. And when we see other people take action and have hope, then we also have hope. And when we come together, we can actually rebuild something new. Wow. Because otherwise we sit back and like, okay, people don't even vote. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and I'm just going to sit back and see. Where is it going to go? Unfortunately, then like, there's like so much, even in business school, it was all about profit maximization.
Yeah.
How do we make more money? That's always the big question. And I fought with my professors so badly, so many times. I was like, listen, if your company is going to do this and destroy this land, eventually you're going to have protesters in front of your door, and your company might shut down because, like people would not want to buy this product. Yeah. It's a different mentality. So basically, how can we empower people?
Well, I love this too, even coming from your own story, right? Mm-hmm. Where it seems like what you've done with your life is, like you said, you're a victor of your life. You're not a victim. Everything is actually setting you up to make the most impact that you can make. And I love this idea that you're talking about of disrupting that cycle. Instead of just being a part of the problem or things always happening to you and then continuing to go along that journey, you said, actually, we're going to stop this. I'm going to use this as a disruption to that cycle and that environment that I'm in, and try to create a new lane with that and try to envision this new world. And for you to use art in this way to envision the new world is a really beautiful thing. And I think it's so impressive. I mean, our friend Michelle said this, how many artists get to speak at Carnegie Hall, which is one of the most illustrious stages for musicians usually, right? And so for you to be up there on the stage, and from you saying when you were younger, you were afraid to use your voice in this way because you didn't speak the language, or maybe you felt like you didn't fit into this world. For you now to have such a powerful voice and this powerful energy, to know that, you as a world traveler as well, moving to all these places, you've seen the world in a way that not a lot of people have. All these places became your home, and everywhere you go now, you do have this power that that if you travel to a new place, you can make that your home as well.
Yes.
How do you think that that experience of witnessing different cultures, witnessing different languages, witnessing how people in many different countries live, how has that kind of shaped from a young age your understanding of the human condition and the human spirit?
Yes, thank you for asking that question. Especially growing up, you don't really see the difference in people until someone tells you that someone is different, until you're being programmed. Right? And I would see it in the kids. And it's like when I moved from Russia, I was being called disgusting Russian, right? And because there was a big immigration of people from Russia. And it's like, okay, so, and why kids do that is because they heard it from parents or whatever. And also what I realized is that the cultural shock is not only sometimes for the person who moves to the country, it's also for the whole country when there's a big wave of immigration. They're like, oh, that's different. But if it's different, doesn't mean that it's wrong. So how can we accept those differences and actually shape and mold together? Because eventually we do.
Yeah.
Right? And so what I've noticed is that we actually not only have different as we share 99.9% the same DNA.
Yeah.
And then seeing for example, Muslim and Jewish, going to in Canada, sitting at the same table, celebrating Persian New Year's. Gorgeous. We had the best time, it's like people sharing meal and they so loving. And I was like, wait, why do we have so much separation on the other side of the world? It's an illusion.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say something controversial, but I do not believe in borders. I feel like it's been imposed on us. And yes, there are differences, yes, with safety and all the things. But if we don't program kids, if we don't hold the grudge of what happened 100 years ago, because there's this thing that I think is it Eckhart Tolle that teaches, please forgive me if it's the wrong author,
Okay,
but basically there's this thing called pain body.
Yeah.
And there's a thing called collective pain body. So collective pain body is when we are attached to the idea of carrying that pain, that suffering. We actually find pleasure in it and we identify with it. So as a collective, we're we've been hurt in the past, so we are carrying this.
Yeah.
And so then we're going to perpetuate it and cause it to other people because, it was unfair to us. And there's this or we're not going to talk to them. And it creates this distance again. And that being taught to kids over and over and over again when they grow up, that this and that happened. So I wonder if we can educate from a different perspective. Yes, it did happen, but we are all humans. And how can we live in harmony so it doesn't?
Yeah. What's the new story?
What's the new story?
And that's the thing. It's 2026, and we just learned 6 years ago that our Earth and our planet is more connected than ever. When COVID happened, every inch of this planet was affected by it. We also saw how much we do go from country to country, how much we do travel from state to state here in America, right? And we would hope that we saw when we stopped taking so many cars, when we stopped taking so many ships, when people started getting in touch with nature again, we saw the Himalayan mountains were seen for the first time in India. In Long Island, where I'm from, we had sharks and whales and fish come back within less than a year that we haven't seen in probably 40 years. And just with just a little bit less human, effect to the planet, we saw how life comes back so fast. And I was really hoping through that it would make us know that, hey, like you said, we're not just Canadian, American, Russian, Ecuadorian. We're just earthlings,
Earthlings, yes.
We really are.
Yes,
we're just
yes,
people
yes.
of this planet, right?
Yes.
And so what I really love too is art is this way to literally recreate and add newness into this world. And what you've done as well, every single culture, no matter where it is in the world, from what generation, all cultures have music, they have food, they have dance, they have art, right? You think of the first paintings or cave paintings that we still have this day from thousands of years ago. What an incredible tool that you found that no matter where you go in the world, you'll be able to share and communicate. So what was that first, a lot of your artwork is this nature and animal-based artwork to really get people to see what either the new story of the world or some things that are just kind of hidden in plain sight that we don't notice, right? When was the first time that you really painted something that was like an animal or a tree that when you painted it, you were like, oh, this feels right to me. I want to continue on this path?
You know, it was interesting because, well, I always, painted nature and I love nature. My first drawing was actually of ocean. Ocean with a ship on it. I remember it so vividly. It was a painting we had at home, and I did it with markers. And I think I was 4. And I remember it, like to that day. I remember looking at it and down. And then my first drawing that I brought to school was of an octopus swimming with the fishes,
Yeah.
But I actually, when I made a decision to become an artist, I feel like so many artists that are already artists that do not claim that they are because they are scared of judgment. I was scared of judgment. And so I was like, okay, I'm in business school. And I remember my boyfriend at the time, he came to my place and I had all these paintings and drawings underneath my bed. And I took,
You're like hiding them. Yeah.
And I took them out and he looked at it and he's like, I think you should have an exhibition.
Wow.
I was like, an exhibition? He's like, yeah, why not? And I was like, I'm not going to do an exhibition with this, but I was like, I should maybe start to make a collection. And I remember I was like, I love animals, so let me paint endangered species. So I created a whole series. My first painting was a lion. And it's actually Joel from New York. He used to live in New York. He got that one. It was the first painting. And I just remember looking at it and I was so in love and awe with it. So then I was like, okay, I'm just going to paint animals because they can't speak up for themselves. They need a voice and I wanted to be their voice.
Oof. And do you know, it doesn't have to be an exact number. I'm not a scientist either. I'm not going to check you, but how many animals, it feels like you have so much to choose from, which is so sad to say when you talk about painting animals that are on the endangered list. Do you know how many animals or what that is?
So what I will tell you that the extinction rate is 1,000 times faster than normal rate.
Now,
right
recently?
Now. Yes.
And when did that kind of change?
After industrialization, that's when, of course, you start having all the shifts, environmental shifts. And, when I was in Borneo rainforest, for example, there are so many species that we don't know. And I remember I was asking my, I don't want to call him my guide. He was somebody, like the organization I was visiting, Shani's organization. And I was asking him, like, hey, what should I look out for in the rainforest? Like, what should I be careful? He's like, make sure to pay attention for green vipers. They usually eat and spend about 1 week digesting, like 1.5 meters, like up from the earth. So instead of looking into your feet, make sure you check for like when you walk forward. I was like, okay, got it. And he's like, don't move.
No.
In the city, I'll be like, what? Here, I was like, I froze.
Immediately froze. Yeah.
I froze. Like, I didn't even breathe.
Yeah.
And here he flickers a white tarantula off of my leg.
It was on your leg. You don't even notice.
I didn't even notice because I was so mesmerized with the story of a green viper.
Yeah.
I was like so into it. And then I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, is it venomous? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? You spent here 25 years.
Yeah.
He's like, look, there's so much we don't know, so much undiscovered. And so the thing is, by us cutting down and burning rainforests, it's the same thing as burning down the Library of Alexandria. So much knowledge, so much beauty, so much medicine.
Medicine, yeah.
Yeah.
Think about how much medicine that we have now that are either from animals or plants and how much of it does come from the rainforest. I mean, all the oxygen of the planet, how much gets produced out of the rainforest.
Right.
And, one thing that really stood out to me that I think is just, speaking of human condition, when you're so fixated on one thing, you don't even notice. When you're so fixated on this green viper, you don't even notice that this tarantula was on your body, right? And how much of that can we see happening right now in the world, right? Where, I mean, how much is going on here in the United States right now that is just driving fear and anxiety and stress into us that we feel like we don't have the mental capacity to even think about what's going on with the planet, right? Because you are worried about your neighbors. You're worried about if you're going to be able to retire. You're worried about healthcare, right? It feels like so much distraction right now. But if we don't have a planet, we don't have anything else.
Yes.
We only have one planet here.
And actually, ironically, you're speaking about it. When in this November, there was a COP30 United Nations Climate Change Conference, and it was in Brazil, which first of all, it was incredible to see indigenous people together in the negotiating rooms. Yes, it wasn't perfect, but it was this first step, where the two worlds were colliding and they actually had a voice. And what I want to share is that we had fire there. And the fire I had to run into the fire. It was just like, because unfortunately, like the walls were made out of, plastic, like going up, because it was a temporary structure. So the fire started spreading very fast.
In the building. In
the building. And actually I was about to have my presentation of my painting Forests of the World, which I shared at the Carnegie Hall, and it was there. And I see people running towards me. And I'm like, wait, but my painting is there. I have to run towards the fire. So I am not even thinking, not hesitating. I am running there to protect the vision, to protect the mission.
Yeah.
And I have asthma, so I'm like suffocating in that smoke. I'm grabbing my painting. The fires are like 3 to 5 meters away from me. It's increasing so fast, and people running. And so I grab the painting. My friend then ran towards me, helps me. We ran outside. The whole conference is outdoors. It was stopped after that day. And I was like, you know what? When the building is on fire, what do we do first? We take care of the fire. And then we go along and we do whatever we need to do.
Yeah.
And so our planet is on fire. Yet what do? We focus on other things. Yet we have to take care of the fire first.
Yeah. If there's a fire in your house, as you say,
you're
not going to be worrying about,
how's my jewelry looks today?
Yeah. Can I pay for my car payment? You're like, my house, my place where I live is on fire. And I think that's such a good reminder. There's so much now to distract us. I mean, these every day, right? You have all this information at your fingertips, and we're getting overwhelmed by way too much information and not paying attention to the thing that we need to pay attention to first.
Exactly.
And one thing I really loved what you were talking about at Carnegie Hall was, if you're sick, right? If something is going on in your body, the rest of your body has to recover, right? Like, let's say if you go blind, your hearing senses, your sense of smell, they heighten, because once you lose one sense, another sense heightens. So you're really equating this to, how do we know that what we're doing on the planet, what we're doing in this rainforest by burning it and cutting it down and turning it into whatever we're turning it into, if that's not affecting something in Africa, something in Canada?
Yeah.
Can you speak more about that?
Of course. And actually, I want to highlight why certain rainforests and what for mainly they're being destroyed.
Yeah.
So Borneo rainforest is mainly being destroyed for palm oil.
Palm oil.
Monocultural palm oil farming.
What do we usually use that for?
Unfortunately, it's in everything. It's in cosmetics, like Unilever. They use it for our cleaning products, our detergent, etc. It's unfortunately now it's in our food as well, which is extremely bad for us. So, and why they use it is because its melting temperature is lower. And what it means is, for example, Nutella. I don't know if you remember when you were a kid, in winter, or if you have it in your fridge, you can't put a spoon in it.
Yes.
Right? But now they put palm oil in it. So then it's always, even if you put it in the fridge, you can still what would be the word? Liquid, goopy. Yeah, goopy.
Yeah, the scientific word, if you will. The very academic goopy word. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you. So for those reasons. But it's extremely bad for our health. It's extremely bad for the planet. And of course, all the animals die because first the forest is cut down, then it's burnt. And Borneo is mostly peatlands. Peatlands, it's undecayed matter that is stuck between water and soil. So when you burn it, it releases massive amounts of CO2 into the atmosphere, comparable per day as entire Japan. So not only we are releasing carbon, now we are preventing the rainforest from sequestering it. Yes, and there's this thing called albedo effect. So when the ice up north starts to melt, and when the white ice starts to get darker, it doesn't reflect light back. So eventually we'll just heat ourselves up with no return. But don't get pessimistic. We can still turn things around if we take things in our hands. Yeah. So there's still hope. But it's important to pay attention to it, right? But not many people talk about it, especially the industry would never speak about it. Yeah. And so that's happening there in Amazon rainforest. It's cut down for beef, for cattle.
Beef, cattle, yeah.
Yes. So about 70% of the forest is cut down for that. I think it's about 30% for the production of the crops to feed the animals. And then the 40% is for the actual cattle.
Wow.
Yes. And now Patagonia, I don't know if you heard about the fires that are happening there.
No.
It's been crazy. Patagonia is gorgeous. And now it's being burnt. And what are going to be doing there? A real estate development.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
All for money, right? It's like, and palm oil is cheap also. That's why also it's being produced. So all of it, and I think it's important for us to recognize what is it being, why is it being done?
Yeah.
So we can choose, do we want to support it or not? I personally, I am plant-based, and I find that palm oil is not vegan, because it kills so many animals on the way. So on that note, I just wanted to share that because I think it's important to know. So as I mentioned, yes, if like one organ fails, let's say the heart, right, doesn't work so well, then it will affect the rest of the body, will affect other organs. So not many people know that trees are responsible for our water cycles.
How does that work?
So this process called evapotranspiration, and which means that when the water falls into the ground, the roots hold the water, like the veins in our hands and in our body. Yeah. So they hold the water, and then through the trunk and the leaves, it evaporates it back into the atmosphere, creating so-called sky rivers. And those sky rivers that are floating in the sky, oh my God, I just love this imagery. And that's what my painting Forest of the World beautiful. Is about. Thank you. And then it rains onto the earth. And so this sky rivers are carrying the water. So, and the trees that would facilitate it happening.
They're like the bridge between the land and the air.
Exactly. So when we cut them down, we actually disrupt the water cycles. And, when we cut down the trees, the soil cannot hold the water. So the water rushes to the streets. It rushes to the cities, rivers, and in a city like New York.
Oh my gosh, it's terrible recently. I mean, in the past few years, you see it all the time. If people are not from New York City, anytime we get a crazy rainstorm, the subways are flooding. Mm-hmm. It's a river coming down the streets. Anybody who, it's what you talked about before, the eco-anxiety, where you have to think about as a New Yorker now, which we've never had to think about this, am I going to buy that apartment on the first floor of the street? Can I be on the first floor of something? I had to think about that when I moved into my new apartment, because I don't know if we get a flash flood one day, your whole entire apartment could be flooded with water. Yep. And we didn't have this problem 10, 15 years ago. And it feels like every summer now it really kicks off where we're noticing it more and more. So you're saying the way to combat that is actually more trees in these cities.
Yes. And when I first visited Borneo, I was like, okay, what do we do? So many solutions, and looking for so many different like technologies, but then nature gave it to us already. We don't need some crazy carbon capture structures. It's like, hey, we just need more trees. As easy as that. Captures carbon, creates more oxygen, regulates our water cycles, also beautiful and gorgeous.
Yeah, literally. It's not only doing the most technological job on the planet to create harmony and balance, but it's also gorgeous.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this creates shade, right? It creates housing for animals, which we don't think about. So it's so multifaceted, and it's already given. And, especially after being at COP30 and seeing the negotiations, and you're like, I'll speak like an artist. You're like, yeah, sure. Like, let's see what's actually going to happen. I do think these kind of gatherings are important because like even people on the ground and get to meet other people, we can still make action. But you're like, by the time the policies are going to be implemented, by the time things are actually going to take off, what can we do? Plant trees, take it into your action. And if each person plants 165 trees,
yeah, why that number? Why 165?
So in order for us to restore 0.9 billion hectares of land, of degraded land.
So hectares of land?
0.9 billion hectares of destroyed land.
That's what we need to do?
Mm-hmm. All around, it's like all over the world, right? Like it's like a collective.
Yeah.
Each person needs to plant 165 native trees. I have to specify native trees are very important, right? So, to the location. So, and this way it empowers, right? If you can't donate money for somebody else to plant it, then you can go volunteer. And also, by the way, if you do donate, and then you can support local communities, providing them with alternative livelihoods, that instead of them cutting trees for lumber companies, they can plant them.
Wow. Huge difference.
Huge
that completely changes the outcome of our planet in the next 100 years.
Exactly. Yes.
Today I was just you got me really into trees from when we last spoke,
Yay.
right? Yeah, you're like, it's working, yay! You got me really into trees, and I was doing a lot of research. And one thing today that I just was reading about was that 1.6 billion people rely on the tree industry in some way, right? Whether that be the people that are arborists, they're cutting down the trees, the people that are getting medicine from the trees, whether it's syrup, whether it's rubber, to now say that actually we can put more jobs into the world and protect our planet in the same way is what we need to start to look at. Protecting the planet does not take away anything. It actually makes everybody more harmonious. It actually brings harmony to everybody. And as you said, nature is our greatest teacher of what is harmony. We spoke about it also at the beginning of there's a lot of masculine energy right now on the planet. So many things are unbalanced. And when we create technology as humans, right? Look at AI. We created something, but we only think about the cause. We don't ever think about the effect. We want AI, but then we don't think about all the water that it's taking and using up. And we don't really care about that because we want a video of Will Smith eating spaghetti, right? Or whatever that is. We're not thinking about that. And I think that we as humans need to practice balance. What is balance? And what is that for ourselves? Inward? How do my actions create an effect in the world, whether that's through myself, whether that's with my family, my neighborhood, but as a world and as business, someone who has a business degree, how do we create that balance in what we're putting out into the world?
For the trees, right? Like we think like, oh, I need to donate. It's sometimes I feel like we have this mentality, it's taking away from me. But can we reframe that actually by us taking, okay, the first like level is $50 to plant 165 trees through our life force.
$50 is
$50.
165 trees?
Yes, they're not monitored to maturity. You later have an opportunity to add on to make sure they are monitored.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty accessible starting point, right? And we wanted to make sure it happens.
That's 5 cups of coffee in New York City.
I know. And
That's crazy.
But we need to shift the mentality. It takes that because you know, if someone asks you on the street for $50, right, you're not automatically going to do that. And so how can it be, okay, here I'm actually doing something not only for the people who are going to plant trees, I'm doing it for the planet and for myself as well. I'm doing it for my kids. I'm doing it for my family. I want to create a safer future. So it needs this shift of sharing. And, you know, as human species, it took us such a long time to get to the comfort level that we live today.
Yeah.
So it's very hard for us to give up. So someone will say like, oh, there's 5 cups of coffee that I don't need to make myself and I can just get the experience of Starbucks.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like, hey, but actually I can do good. And for people to even, when you get to experience this first, like, oh, I did good. It's like, oh, it feels so much more fulfilling than any of these 5 cups of coffee.
Yeah.
And so it's shifting the mentality, shifting culture. And how can we make it cool even to be like, hey, how many trees have you planted?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
instead of like, how many pair of these sneakers you have?
Yeah.
I don't know what kids are into right now, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, for real. Or like, how many shows did you go see? How many concerts did you see this year? How many trees did you plant?
Yes.
What is your impact in that way?
Yes. What is your impact?
How do you think that people start to think in this new way, shift their perspective into this way of really thinking about how their daily actions are affecting the people and the planet around them?
I'm a spiritual person. So I believe that the universe sometimes has to corner us for us to really experience the misery. Yeah. Either it is through experiencing the natural disasters, one hand, or internally nothing fulfills you.
Yeah.
You can have all the money in the world, but you can be deeply unhappy. And it's because so focused on our inner world. And there's this a tale of a monk tells his student, go to the lake and bring a cup of salt. The student like, okay, it's weird, but I'm going to do it. All right?
You're like, all right, if you say so.
He brings it to the lake. Then the monk says, okay, put water into the cup of salt. Okay, take a sip. How does it taste? He's like, salty.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, good. Now take that cup, take that salt and pour it into the lake. Take a cup from the lake. How does it taste? He's like, normal.
Yeah, delicious.
Yeah. He's like, well, it's the same amount of salt. So the salt can be our suffering. So we are carrying that cup of salt. And when we contain the water, our attention, our perception within our bodies, within our own consciousness, like it's so small and it's condensed and we just like, suffocating inside. But if we like, let me more water in, like, let me share the salt. Let me let me just like see how I can help. And we take our attention, our like attention span and our focus onto others, suddenly everything becomes so much better. When we step outside of ourselves, when we extend our hand to another, then we can heal the planet, we can heal each other, and we can heal ourselves.
Yeah, we're meant to be in community.
Yeah.
That's how we got to this place that we're in.
Yeah.
And to be able to share. And I love what you were saying before too of thank you for really going deep into this is the rainforest that is being affected the most, and this is why. Because so much of our choices now feel very automatic, so it's becoming unconscious. You go to the grocery store, you see what the package is, you just see the nice color, you pick it up because I need milk, I need cereal, I need this, I need this meat. And you're not actually thinking about where is this coming from? How did we get this? And this idea of voting with your dollar. We've seen now more than ever in the last 10 years when corporations' end goal is profit over people and over planet, then they don't care if people come to the rescue of the planet. They don't care if people try to come to the rescue of people. When people try to affect their profit, things change really quickly, right? So I love what you're saying of how do we go deeper and take the next step, become more conscious about each action that you're taking. What is the cause? What is the effect? If I buy the cereal, where is it coming from? What are the ingredients? How much has to go out in the world for you to just eat Cocoa Puffs or whatever it is, right? And I think that, again, when we're so overwhelmed with all of this information, we don't always have the mental bandwidth to go deeper. But as you said, if your house is on fire, we need to put that out first. What are some organizations that you know, or when you say that there's hope in the world and that there is good, what is happening right now? What have you seen around the globe that is giving you hope that people are putting in the work to make our planet a safer and more viable place?
Oh, there's actually so much hope in the world, and the deeper I go into it, I'm like, oh, thank you guys. Like this is incredible. So, for example, one of my favorite organizations that gave me hope called Health in Harmony. And what they did, so Kinari Webb, she's from San Francisco, and she went to Borneo and she asked local communities, what do you need? Like, why you're cutting down the rainforest? And people said, look, if we don't have healthcare, if someone in our family is sick, we're going to do whatever it takes to save the person we love. Would you cut down 80 trees for your mom's surgery? I love trees and I would do it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, this is like a window of compassion open in my heart. And so what she did, she's like, okay, we're going to sign a memorandum with you. If you promise us not to cut down the trees, we're going to give you healthcare clinics. They're going to give you healthcare for 30% of its cost. And if you can't pay us, you can pay us by planting trees.
Wow.
And where they plant them? In restoring wildlife corridors.
Wow.
It's a win-win-win solution.
Wow.
And so it provides alternative livelihoods to local communities, provides healthcare, and wildlife is thriving. And so actually one of our lifeforest.org, where one of our partners that we donate to so that they can plant trees. Yes.
That is incredible. And it really, I mean, even just you telling me that, it really does shift perspective and it gives you hope. There's always a way. I think it is, again, it feels like so much of your life truly is setting you up for this moment. Everything that you've been through, from being an artist, but being like, oh, I have to go to business school because my family is like, you should go to business school. You know, we've all the artists know the get a real job, the stability thing. But for you now to merge those worlds and be like, no, we can create sustainable business that is positive for the people and planet, and you can still get profit. We can make this a win-win-win for everything. And honestly, that for me just, it's so simple, but that just opened up this new window into my brain of what is a win for everybody, but include the planet in that. Because how often is the planet getting included in it?
Yeah.
It's not, or animals or trees. And why? Because they don't have a seat at the table. They don't have a voice at the table.
Yep.
So I love that what you're doing, this intersection of art and your experience as business, you're making sure that the trees, the plants, the animals, where you go, they have a seat at the table with you. What would be your advice for people who want to either launch their own business, want to create their own path or their own organization? What would be your advice to make sure that they also keep that seat open for the voiceless?
You know, I always ask whatever I do is like, does it give me life force? Does it give life force to the people that I'm working with? And does it give life force to the planet?
And when you think of the word life force, what does that mean for you?
Is it beneficial? Does it give more life? Is it energizing? Does it take care of it, right? Is it still continuing to live and thrive, right? Or is it depleting it? Is it giving to it or is it depleting? So we don't want to take away life force. We don't want to take it, like if it gives me life force, but then I'm destroying the forest, who wins? I win. Do I really win? Because it's going to affect me like later. It's a short-term gratification, whatever it is, right? So I would really ask yourself, does it do good? Does it give life force? And we know the answer. We all know it. And sometimes we like gaslight ourselves, saying like, oh no, it's fine. It's okay. We find other solutions. And because we really want something. But is it true? Is it true? Is it good? So just ask yourself before you do anything.
Yeah. Take the time to dive deeper into that cause and effect. Research. Where are the products you're getting, you're using? Where are they coming from? Because once you become conscious of it, that's when the choice happens. You know, it's people need to wake up and realize that every single thing we do, it's like, you know, a ripple in the ocean. You throw a rock in the ocean, the waves happen. Everything we do has that butterfly, the cause of effect of it. So how do we really take time for ourselves to explore that? And I love that art for you is that's your zone to explore that within yourself. What's your connection? For others who maybe don't have that outlet yet to express themselves, or maybe like you, they have something, that dream that they want. They're going to the business school of their life, but their paintings are under their bed. For you, and you taking your first steps to now showcasing this thing that you loved, what would you say to people who have that dream? They want to make an impact on the planet. They want to make an impact in their community or their family, but maybe they think that they're just part of the cycle. What they don't really have an impact in this world. What they do can't make a change. What would you say to those people?
Honestly, just like if someone drops something, you pick it up for them and they look at you with so much gratitude, right? So it's like, and then experiencing that moment and knowing you can have a larger effect. And then like even like when rescuing an animal and then that animal looks at you so hopeless, but then you see the evolution of how like that dog that was starving and like, you know, naked without any hair now is a fluffy, cute white pup, you know, like you can see that gratification. But what I would really encourage people is to go volunteer. Find organizations near you, and there's so much gratitude that will be poured into you for what you're doing, and then you will find your place in the equation. And like I love volunteering. Like the Los Angeles Climate Week, I adore it. And actually, I'm bringing more impact artists there, so we can really use art as a tool for climate. And volunteering is truly the key. So go out there. Don't be scared. Don't be shy. If you really want it, and like for me as an artist, you know, some things, I go places, I have nothing planned, but I show up. And things like magic that start unfolding. So when you have the right intention, the right message, the kind heart, things are going to open up for you.
The alignment will happen.
The alignment will happen, yes.
But I love that. Take the small steps and you'll see. And then from there you can grow.
Yes.
Because sometimes it feels like when there's so much going on in the world where you're like, the ice caps are melting, the forest, the animals, the this. It can feel so overwhelming. But when you just choose one thing and take one step in it, that's when you can actually see what change you can make. Even if it's small at first, you get to see that micro step. I really love that. And I love your connection to your inner world, whether that be through art. And also, you know, when we first met each other only a few weeks ago, whenever that was, one of the first things that I was like, what? Is you mentioned that you've gone and done silent retreats where you haven't spoken for 100+ days.
Yeah, I did.
And can we just, because as a beatboxer and as a girl from Long Island, the idea of not talking for like more than 25 minutes, I'm like, I start to go insane. What do you mean you have been in a silent retreat for more than 100 days? What does that mean?
So it was like overall like more than 100 days. And
What do you mean more than 100
yeah,
was already?
I stopped counting because I would do
Oh my
sporadically,
God.
like 30 days, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then within 1 year it was over 100 days, and
Wow.
I loved it. And to be honest, of course I was scared, but the thing was that we are in a society where there's so much polarity, there's so much misinformation, and as a young woman, I felt overwhelmed. I was like, what is true? What should I listen to? Who is right? Who is wrong? Just like you just like wanna like you don't know which direction to run, how to be, how to express yourself. Like, because as a woman, you need to be this way, that way. Like you're doing this wrong, and like even as an artist, whatever it is. And then I also knew I just came from Borneo. I knew I had to. There's this project I was working on for 5 years. I had to do it. I had to focus on that. And by me going inward, first of all, I received the guidance and directions for the project, and the paintings, everything was so vividly and magically came through that I could create it and birth it. And at the same time, I was able to tune in into my truth. What feels right and good for me, how I want to show up in this world, and how to shed all these imposed ways of being. I wanted to free myself. Because you only get one life, and to live it by someone else's rules feels like a waste of it.
Wow. When you could be someone who comes and changes the rules and disrupts the rules, right? For people, I spoke about this with Michelle a bit too, right? People get really nervous to sit with themselves, to not distract themselves. I mean, even for me, I have to check myself with music. I love music, but music could be a big distraction for me. Am I on the street? Am I in the gym where I always have headphones in and I'm not open to meeting new people and connecting? So for the listeners out there that they're like, well, I literally could never do that. That sounds horrifying for me to sit with my own thoughts. What would come and change their life and benefit them if they had a practice like this? Not to say that they'll not talk for 100 days, but to just sit with themselves. How does that change their life?
So, we're talking about the cup of salt.
Yeah.
It's very salty when you're with your own thoughts, right? It's like you're like, because that's the salt accumulated through life. And so through silence, it actually taught me how to take that salt and to surrender it to higher power, to like give it away so I don't even have to hold it. I don't even have to show up in it in the world. And I was going layer by layer. Like in the beginning, it's really hard. You're going through like, it creates quite, suffering, because first you're like figuring out like, okay, all your childhood traumas, all the unprocessed thoughts, all the open windows that we have in our mind. You have to go one by one and actually look at them. Do I need this or I don't need this? What can I learn from it? Okay, I learned it. Can I close it? And then you sort it out. And so the benefit is, you become so much more present. Life becomes so much more enjoyable. And then everything that happens in life, I started seeing as like, oh, thank you. This is great. I've learned this and this and that from it. So gratitude comes from it. And honestly, the first advice, even like, you don't have to do silence. Take your phone, your computer, your electronics for 1 weekend. Put it away.
Horrifying for people. What? Yeah.
Because that is a distraction.
Yeah.
Because, okay, so this is actually very interesting for creatives. I think there's 7 stages of creativity, but the first 3 are, the first stage is information gathering phase, incubation, and then eureka moment.
A eureka moment. Yeah, the light bulb.
Yeah. So the first one, information gathering, before my vow of silence, I was reading books that I wanted, the information I wanted in my mind before I went into my incubation phase. Incubation is when you shower, when you meditate, all this time when you can process. And then there's eureka moment, like, oh, wow, that's the best idea ever. Right? So with the phone, we are so used to scrolling. So what we are doing is we're polluting the information gathering phase. and we are preventing ourselves from going into incubation process. So by us, I'm not saying you should never look at your phone. I'm just like, even having that one weekend, even a day, give it a day of like incubation, of just like allowing yourself to look at the trees and walk around, or just like be with yourself. And then your ideas, your magical, like the future will unfold. So even just starting with that, I think that can be truly transformational.
Yeah, that baby step, right?
Yeah.
And then when your phone is locked in the other room, you realize how many times you go for it, right? And you check it. Again, it's making what is unconscious conscious.
Mm-hmm.
And for you as well, when you are in this 100-day plus, you just stop counting, which is incredible. I've never heard anybody say that. I'm assuming, you're not, by yourself in society. So how do you still communicate and get what you need and had your needs that you needed to be met through silence?
Well, at the time, and I'm going to give credit to my former partner, so we had support, like someone's making food, he was making sure that everything runs around the house. So I'm very grateful to him for that part.
Yeah.
So I was able to be in my studio and just, focus on what I needed. There was this one time I had to go to a grocery store and it was a very interesting experience because I walk in and I needed to go to the bathroom. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, the bathroom is locked. I'm like, oh God, I don't want to, Yeah. And so I wrote, a note like, hey, like, what is the password to the bathroom? And so I showed it to the worker, and him, instead of saying it to me, he showed me the password on his fingers, and I still remember it was like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Because he thought that I was mute and I was deaf.
Deaf, yeah.
And then later, the same grocery store, I go to the cash registry and I'm about to like purchase things, and the cashier, he came up from behind his registry and he gave me a hug. I was like, wow. Humanity, right? Because he had compassion. Wow. And I was like, this is very powerful. And that also gave me hope, and also like, it just was a very beautiful moment. So I wouldn't say I didn't like interact. That was a couple interactions. I did have to walk my dog. And he's a fluffy, gorgeous Siberian husky with blue eyes that you can't walk by anyone without them start talking to him.
A million questions. Yeah.
Million questions. So
talking to him, not to you. You're not even there.
I'm like, yeah. Well, I have to speak for him basically.
Yeah.
But so what I discovered is if I go for a run and I'm on a hike and I'm huffing and puffing, no one's going to talk to me. I got in a great shape.
Yeah. So you're like, sorry, I gotta run right now.
I gotta run. Yeah. Just like, and continue running. So I had some like tricks, and I had eventually signed. It said in silence.
Wow.
Which was very helpful.
Well, I just want to point out that moment at the grocery store where this person came behind a counter and hugged you when you were voiceless. That is the universe. If animals and trees could do that, if that orangutan that you watched could come down and hug you for doing what you're doing right now, that's how they feel. They might not know it, but that experience is the universe hugging you back for the way that you are showing up for those that don't have a voice. Yeah. And I thank you so much. I'm excited to keep getting to know you more and keep being friends. I'm so excited and happy that we connected because you are such an inspiration from where you started as a child to where you are now. Mm-hmm. Life has set you up for you to be exactly where you need to be. Mm-hmm. And you are doing exactly what you should do. You are going and you are making the world a better place, and you're doing it through joy and art and beauty. Truly beauty. Mm-hmm. You're making this world a more beautiful place. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you for being here. How can people continue to support you and follow you on your journey? And also Life Force, how can people stay connected to you and the work that you do?
Oh, thank you. First, I have tears in my eyes. Thank you for everything you said. And that's a remark. So to earthly things.
Yeah, there's sit back, go back down into the body for a minute. Yeah.
Oh, you did a little bit of beatboxing in there. That was fun.
Yeah.
So if you would like to find me, my Instagram is ekaterina.sky.art. Please reach out if you're interested and, anything, however I can support you. And if you would like to plant trees or donate or even to register how many trees you've planted throughout your lifetime, we have a portal on ourlifeforce.org where you can just track your lifetime, and then we can see a collective, ticker of like how many trees we planted collectively. And you can also find reforestation sites where you can go and volunteer. So everything is there. So please go visit ourlifeforce.org. And if you want to see my website, it's ekaterina-sky.com. And find me through any of these platforms, and I would love to connect.
Yeah, for all those listening, when they look at your art, I mean, your story is incredible and they haven't even seen your art yet. When you go online and you see what this woman could create, you're going to be blown away. And this is just a call to action to anyone listening. If you listen to this and next time you see me, ask me how many trees I planted. Keep me accountable. I need to, you're right. Not how many shoes do we own, not how many concerts did we see. Ask me how many trees have I planted since last time I saw you.
Yes.
So thank you for that inspiration. Thank you so much for being here. You are the best. Ekaterina Sky, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thanks